Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. I have an update to share about one of Trump's Capitol insurrectionists. It's time for an episode of Where Are They Now?
Matthew Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So 51-year-old Brian Stenz is a Pennsylvania resident who was seen inside the Capitol on January 6th. Stenz texted photos of himself that he took inside the building. He texted those to someone that ended up being named as witness 2 in the affidavit, so not a good choice. One of the photos that Stenz sent to this witness 2 was taken inside of Senator Jeff Merkley's office. However, in an interview with the FBI on April 9th, this was, of course, last year, Stenz admitted to entering the Capitol, but he said that he thought the senator's office was a gift shop or a bookstore or something. Anyway, he admitted that he saw others breaking windows to get inside the building. So he clearly knew, they weren't welcomed in with open arms. And then shortly after his FBI interview, actually on April 30th, he actually turned himself into the authorities. And he was charged with entering restricted building or grounds, 2 counts of disorderly conduct, and then, the parading or demonstrating in a Capitol building. So the typical 4 charges. On November 12th, Stenz pleaded guilty to the parading charge, and he was looking at up to 6 months in prison, up to 5 years of probation, $5,000 in fines. And here's the deal. He has an extensive criminal history. Evidently, he was convicted on 5 previous criminal misdemeanor charges, and he served time in jail at one point. He also has already had charges pending for falsifying records when he was trying to purchase a weapon. And that was while he took part in the Capitol attack. So those charges were pending on January 6th of last year. Well, because of those factors, prosecutors were asking for more than home confinement for once, which is nice to see. However, they still only requested 2 weeks in jail. And then they were asking for 3 years of probation and 60 hours of community service. So Stenz's attorney, of course, was asking for only probation. Judge Beryl Howell presided over Stenz's case, and you guys will remember she's a pretty tough one. She told him that when a defendant commits a crime, while charges are pending in another case, it's, quote, a big red flag. And she also questioned Stenz's honesty in not being able to provide the last name of his insurrection buddy. She said, quote, "I'm very skeptical that Mr. Stenz told the truth to the FBI when he said he only knew the friend's first name and not his last name." So Stenz apparently told the investigators that the guy he went with, who was in one of the photos with him, he's a fan of Trump's and he's a friend of Stenz's daughter. And so they just traveled to the Capitol and went into the Capitol together. But he doesn't actually know him, how hard is it for you to ask your daughter what this guy's last name is? Anyway, Stenz's attorney was arguing for leniency, and he pulls out the Christian card to try to prove that, this guy is really not a bad guy. She told the judge that he's been married for a long time. He has 3 children and a job. And, quote, "He's also in a prayer group, which shows that he's a Christian man. This is not a man that is a terrorist or anything of that nature." I mean, first of all, this guy has how many convictions? But he's a Christian. Yeah, he's a Christian. And then who wants to inform this idiot, this attorney, of all of the religious terrorists and all of the acts of violence that they commit in the name of Jesus or some other God or religious belief? Anyway, Judge Howell asked his attorney, quote, "You would agree that people who were legitimately working inside the Capitol building, the vice president, members of Congress, their staff, news media, children who were there watching this historic event, who were evacuated, who hid under tables behind locked doors, you would admit that they were terrorized, right?" So his attorney agreed. He acquiesced and said, "There's no question." And he's embarrassed by that. Sure, Jan. So in the end, the judge sentenced Stenz to only 14 days in jail, 2 months of home confinement, 36 months of probation, and a $500 restitution fee. So again, she went a little above and beyond, and she's been one of the better ones, even though I still don't think it's anywhere near what it should be. But like I've said before, I think that the people who win in the Capitol who are not violent should, at the minimum, get like 2 to 3 months. That's just what I think, because they contributed to the violence. They took attention away from officers who could have been helping their fellow officers. And so many of them saw the violence, whether it was there that day or after the fact in a video, and they didn't do anything about it. They haven't stepped up. They didn't step up to take their punishment. They didn't step up to tell what they know. And most of them give these phony apologies in court, and we find out later it's all a bunch of BS. They didn't even mean it. So no, sorry. All of them, they need to go to jail for minimum 2 months, 2 to 3 months, I think is fair. Anyway, I'm not the judge, so. All right, guys, I will let you know if I hear any more. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.